Welcome to Framework Fortune and welcome back Framework Fortune community. It's time for another episode of The Last Rip, the Monday through Friday series where we take a look at top Nasdaq and NYSE low float gainers and see if there's any trades for the next day and recap any trades that I've taken on the day. So let's not waste any time and jump into the S&P 500. The SPY climbing all day, pushing for new highs. And today was a wonky day in the penny stock world. There was a lot of volume. The breakouts were not as easily predictable as they were at the beginning of this week. So the SPY is closing over this little indecision candle, so we could remain bullish this week. I would expect some bit of a pullback after hitting 430. I don't think we'll break over 430 this week, but it is a possibility. Starting to get a little curl here, so we could still see that pull back to the 20-day at that 425 area. CUEN, this guy's a very low float, 13 million shares, got 200 million in volume today. Came out with some really good PR. They were going to implement the world's first shared Wi-Fi 6 network, and then later in the day they let out some more PR saying that they're going to use the Wi-Fi 6 in New York City. So I expected this to get some type of pop besides this pre-market run. It did run really hard in pre-market. It was up 200% from about $3 up to $8.79. And I took a couple different trades on this on Smart Edge. So we're going to pop over the Smart Edge and take a look here. Here is my profits and losses for the day. Not a good day for me. You can see there a little bit of red, but the plays were just not working out. First time was a $23 loss. Second time was a $14.85 loss. But I kept waiting for the pullbacks, seeing it start to rise and stay above the EMAs, and then it would just get pushed right back down. And the same thing just kept happening all day. Could never get above this $9 area. Strong resistance there, and you can see that by all these upper wicks of selling pressure. Shorters did not want to let this one go, but because that PR is really good, it's still worth keeping an eye on for the rest of the week. Next, we got BLIN, and I was talking about this one on last night's episode of The Last Rip. So if you caught this, very nice job. This thing had a nice explosion up and then pulled back to the 20 and 50, bounced off of there, and ripped all the way up to 854 before selling off the rest of the day. We didn't really get very many continuation runs. Now, I did try to get in BLIN. This was one I was holding. You see I took a $23 loss there. I was holding it through this consolidation as it was riding up the 20, and then it just broke down. This one maybe could stay on watch, but after seeing it just get slammed back down with this big red candle, the big upper wick, I would say it's probably going to come down to those EMAs. It's not a very bullish move with that type of candle wick. Next we have VERB. And they just got a price target raised to $4. That is it. Back in March, it was all the way up at $3.10. So it just gapped up off of that news, but it started climbing. Looks like yesterday morning in pre-market sold off, and then nice move through after hours, pretty much holding its gains in pre-market as well, then popping up to 253 before selling back off. Now this is one that you possibly could put on your watch list, as it does have a bit of a trend line still. It is below all of these EMAs at the moment, so I don't like that. But if it can start opening back up and pushing above 2, it could be one to keep an eye on. A little bit higher float at 63 million. VTNR, this is an energy stock. Looks like they were selling some of their stuff, their assets, to Clean Harbors. So that's not really great PR when you got to sell assets to raise money, because as soon as that PR come out, it just continued to sell off the rest of the day. It is bullish above all EMAs, but pretty far off from these other EMAs, so I'd expect a little bit more of a pullback for anything else happens. NEGG, this is NEGG. They had no news but have been climbing up steady besides this one dip back here. Pretty much holding up the 50-day, and today they just got a big buy and volume pop, climbing all day up the EMAs to that $21 area. No news, but has this kind of consolidation triangle on the daily that it broke up out of. CVRX, this is an IPO. It didn't do a whole lot today. Kind of came out right around 26.50 and was down to 25, then up to 29, now back down to 27.50. Pretty low float though, 18 million, so could be one to watch for tomorrow. Put that on the list. DIBS, no news here, but consumer discretionary stock getting a pop up all the way from 26 to 35.46, and this actually is a new IPO as well here. A little bit higher float. On to the NYSE. LegalZoom.com just IPO'd. This is not the name anymore. This was probably a SPAC or something. And it started moving from 36 to 38. Sideways movement pretty much all day, but LegalZoom does have a pretty decent name, so we'll keep it on watch to see if it gets any more action. YMM, another IPO that just dropped down pretty low, 1538, coming back to these top EMAs, but a lot of resistance there, so probably nothing there tomorrow. DDL, this was one that came out. This is Ding Dong. I don't know. Don't ask me, but that's the name of the company. And it got a nice pop today, running from 25 to 46. Did hold up some of its gains, so could be one to watch tomorrow for another rip. This one's a higher float though, 235 million, but still came out with some explosive buying volume there at market open. So that's it for the Nasdaq and NYSE. I'm going to go through some of the watch list real quick and see if we have any plays that look like they're going to be ready to go tomorrow. XELA had some good PR yesterday. Had a pretty big gap up, ended up holding its gains later in the day and exploded into after hours and into pre-market this morning before dumping off. Been selling off, but holding up the 200-day here in after hours. So this one could be one to keep an eye on for tomorrow to make a possible rip. 20-day is crossed the 50, and 20-day is also very close to crossing the 100 and the 200, only 10 cents away. And this thing has exploded big before in multiple day moves, so keep an eye on it. Break of $3. This thing could go up to 4 again and maybe even 5. MRIN has come back down to that $10 area I was talking about. See right here on the 15-minute, the 200 moving average is right there, and it's right above $10. If it can hold where it's at through after hours and pre-market, tomorrow at market open or sometime tomorrow, we could see this start popping for a continuation rip because it held most of its gains from this initial rip. Shorters had some fun with it today, but they'll probably be out of it tomorrow. BSQR, same thing, was a ripper yesterday, having a small pullback today. Just needs buying volume tomorrow to come in, and it could start ripping again as well. DGBI could have a possible breakup tomorrow. It came down pretty low today to 523. Real close to this 20-day moving average, and then rebounded up to almost 6, and currently in after hours is at 550. But it could continue to climb up this 20-day, and we could see it break out over a couple of days. If it doesn't hold $5 though, it'll crack back below and come all the way down to this 380 area, but still worth keeping on watch. GBR, this is one to keep on watch too. Had the big rip on the 18th. Has been selling off and consolidating sideways, but making stair steps up. You got a step here, step here. I think tomorrow we may see this try to make another move, and it actually is an uptrend too. You can see it started uptrend, bounce there, come back down, and we should see another bounce. And this thing is a runner, so if it does start running, could be some big possible gains there. So the other trades I took, one was on OCUP. This one had some phase 2 trials meet primary endpoints. Had a nice gap up in pre-market, but just got slammed the rest of the day. I kept my stop loss as tight as I could, $30 loss there. On HUSA, this one's actually a dumb story I did. I was trying to get in right here in this triangle consolidation. I hit buy and then accidentally immediately hit sell because they're so close together, and I just double clicked, and so I got out break even. As I bought in, I sold and made 0-0. So Pretty dumb there, because that could have been a very nice win, as it did rip all the way up there to 334. But my dumbness, once again, got me. I'm still holding my VINO swing trade, but I am very close to letting it go. I wanted to see it break above the 200 and start holding and continue this U-shape. But today, having a really rough day, gapping down, just dropping the rest of the day in the after hours. The 20 and the 100 are together, so I'm going to hold as long as those can hold. But if it starts cracking through there, I'm going to get out and probably eat a decent sized loss, because at this level I'm down 167 on it. So we'll see. It actually just dropped a little bit more. I still like it long term, but it's just not getting any buying volume in it. And without buying volume, it'll just keep selling off. I don't think it'll get much lower than probably 450. The 50 days right there at 490. So there's a lot of support here that it's sitting on. Stop testing the support and start testing resistance. So that's it for the top gainers of the day. Let me know if there's any stocks that I didn't cover that you took some trades on, or let me know how your trades went today. Red day for me, pretty ugly day, but we'll be right back in the saddle ready to rock it again tomorrow and see if we can make up these losses and make some profit. So appreciate everybody joining me as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.